Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight is the joint town board and plan commission public hearing on November 3rd at 6:30. Could we have a roll call?
We have Chairman Osterman on Zoom.
Here.
We have Supervisor Plotecker,
Here,
Commissioner Alhaffen,
Here.
Commissioner Nelson,
Here.
Commissioner Mouche is absent and excused, Commissioner Everly,
Here.
Planner Sumwalt,
Here.
Attorney Macy,
Here.
Engineer Lysis is absent and excused, Administrator Nicholas, Supervisor Beal here, and Clerk Capazzo Catch to record the minutes.
okay, the first thing is notice is hereby given that a joint public hearing will be held by the Lisbon Town Board and Plan Commission on Thursday, November 3rd, 2022, starting at 6:30 PM at the Richard Young Memorial Fire Station, N54W26455 Lisbon Road, to solicit public comments on proposed amendments to the Lisbon zoning code, in particular, but not limited to the repeal and recreation of Addendum E design standards. Oren, do you want to start?
I'd be happy to. So for background, this item was brought before the Plan Commission back in September. I proposed some amendment language for consideration by the Plan Commission to these design standards. The design standards exist as an addendum to the zoning ordinance. They apply to properties within the gateway areas to the town. The direction on the September 1st meeting was to make sure that Sussex had seen and approved the language. So there was no action taken that evening. At the October 6th meeting, I updated the Plan Commission during my planner report that there was actually some language that was adopted by both communities via a cooperative boundary agreement that amended some of the language and accomplishes the same goal that already existed. And so what we're proposing now is, as a housekeeping item, to update the zoning ordinance to match that existing language that exists in a current boundary agreement that both communities have already reviewed and approved, essentially. So what you have before you is the proposal to repeal and recreate Addendum E. Again, that's an addendum to the zoning ordinance. This will apply to gateway areas such as Business Park East. And why it's relevant now is that we have obviously a lot of activity in that area currently. So this will be beneficial to businesses looking to develop in our business park. Are there any questions from the commission?
None.
Or in a nutshell or generalizing, is it? are we
And can you get
affecting-
your microphone, please?
Oh, sorry. Are we affecting, is this basically, are we talking about design standards? The whole gamut of things that go into developing?
These
a
designs, these design standards are specific to where they apply. They do not apply town-wide to every business. They only apply to areas that are mapped in a certain exhibit, these quote gateway areas. So the best example I can give where it's most relevant today would be Business Park East.
Okay.
That is considered a gateway area. These standards go above and beyond what's in the regular zoning ordinance. And they affect things, including signage, to your first point. But they actually just reference the sign standards.
All right.
But they also speak to landscaping, lighting, you know, site layout, architecture, all of that.
And very quickly, can I assume that gateway, are we implying major entrances and egresses to the town?
Only certain ones.
Certain, okay.
And
All
there's a map to accompany where these apply, but the most relevant one currently where there's current development proposals outstanding would be Business Park East.
East, right, okay. No, I was just curious because, you know, these terms get thrown around into our citizenry. If somebody would ask me, I'd like to have some kind of a somewhat logical answer.
Sure.
But thank you,
Yeah, so
all right,
so these design standards raise the bar so that the end product is a better product for that particular area because it is a quote gateway. So.
yes.
uh,
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's a heavily trafficked corridor where east is. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on
Sorry.
this proposed amendment? Is there anyone on Zoom?
Anyone on Zoom, if you'd like to comment during the public hearing, please use the raise hand function. No hands raised on Zoom.
Okay. Then we'll adjourn the public hearing at
I have 6:38.
6:38. Okay, and now we will go into the regular plan commission meeting at 6:38. Our first is citizens' comments. If anyone has any comments that they'd like to say or express before we start the regular meeting, the regular agenda.
No
Oh.
hands raised on Zoom.
Okay, then our next order of business is the approval of minute meetings from October 6th, 2022.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to move to approve the meeting minutes with one change.
Okay,
On page 5 of 6 of the Plan Commission minutes, under item II, 3-lot certified survey,
okay,
the second line should read property located at N88 West 23310 North Lisbon Road. That's the only correction.
okay,
I'll second.
all right. Motion was made by Joe and seconded by Brian. With the correction that Joe brought up. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion passes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Oh, Joe's on the thing. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Next is new business. Discussion and necessary action on the request by Ariel Studer / Fullerton Engineering on behalf of Dish Wireless for the property located at W275 North 6725 Lake 5 Road, LSBT 0219994.007 for a site plan of operation amendment for a class 2 coalition in the B3 General Business Zoning District. Is there anybody here from?
Yep, Ariel is on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
And Orin is going to screen share something as well.
Okay. All right, Orin, do you want to start out?
This is a site plan of operation request for Dish Wireless to do an equipment upgrade on an existing tower. Essentially, they're swapping out to put new technology on this tower. This is a class 2 co-location. This went before the town board for their determination that this was a non-substantial modification back in April on the 14th, 2022. And since then, we've been working with the applicant to get a complete submittal for the site plan and plan of operation, which was a condition of that determination by the board, which we have received and is what is before you this evening. And like I said, this is the an existing tower at the Mary's storage facility. The location of the tower and equipment area is the northwest corner of the site. And there's no expansion of that equipment area. They'll be working within that existing footprint. And we, as was noted, we have the applicant joining us via Zoom if there's any particular questions for them.
Chairman? Chairman Plochecker? I have something from Commissioner Mouche. He had some questions.
Okay,
And so he wanted to know, is this an amendment to the existing site plan? Because it wasn't checked off if it was an amendment or not.
This is,
It's an amendment, okay? And then in the recommendation to the Plan Commission, the planner refers to the owner of the property required to keep the premise clean and provided access. This is a site plan of operation. It doesn't apply to the property owner. How can this be enforced?
I suppose the answer to that would be there's a lease agreement that provides access, and perhaps Ariel can speak to that more than I can. But there is access to the lease area for the tower via the internal drive to the site. And the site has access to both Lake 5 Road and County MD via the shared access with Quick Trip.
And the last question he had was, does the tower itself have the structural strength and capacity to carry these additional dish and antennas?
It does, and it wasn't in your packet, and I apologize for the oversight, but back when the applicant originally submitted, when we started this process with them, they did provide a structural analysis. So this would have been in the fall of 2021. I went back and checked, and I've got it up on the screen here. So we do have a structural analysis for the site. Dated October 4th, 2021. Nicholas J. Schmidt, Omaha, Nebraska, has his stamp on there. And it basically says that the structure can handle the equipment that's being proposed.
That was my last question, Madam Chair.
okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Okay, Joe?
I have a question for Mr. Macy. Just because I still have some of the wounds from the last time we dealt with the cell tower. Is it appropriate or are we past that with this particular installation to require some type of way of addressing if this tower goes unused and it's still standing?
Well, I think that's a great question. I don't know what your past practice has been, but I don't know that we're past it. Is there, Orin, is there a CU on the entire property or the original tower? Or is there all by site plan and plan of operation? So we may have to look at the little bit of the history, but I'm not sure that that would be an unreasonable condition. First, I want to go back to the commissioner's question. I would be recommending to you, based on the way the conditions are written, that the property owner also be required to sign along with the petitioner that they've accepted the conditions. That'll answer that question. And we could make, let me just check. Yeah, I don't see anything on here, but is it your thinking that you would like to add something to the site plan and plan of operation?
I would like to include, if possible, a requirement that if the equipment on the tower is not, let me see, how do we deal with this? If the tower is not being used for the intended purpose other than to hold these antenna, in other words, if what we're talking about here is no longer being used, that the applicant has X number of months, that's not being used for X number of months, that the tower come down. So we don't end up with the problem we ran into at Celtic Ridge.
Well, it can't be the applicant because
So-
I believe there's other users.
Yeah.
of this tower.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
all-
Yes,
I'm really sorry. I hate to interrupt. I just want to interject. I'm here representing Dish Wireless. If Dish Wireless they would remove their equipment from the tower. I don't believe I have authority to give Dish Wireless the condition that they would have to remove the tower.
yeah. That I understand. It's just a question of whose tower is it? I could not
This-
figure that out in this.
So this particular tower is owned by US Cellular. They lease the land from the storage unit, the storage park.
Correct.
So in the event that Dish Wireless, if they should ever decide to come off the tower, I can guarantee their equipment will come off pretty fast. Because they're paying rent to US Cellular.
This is confusing to me, John. That's why I realize that Dish is going on somebody else's tower, which is great. So we don't have another tower. But I don't want to run into the situation where US Cellular and Dish stop using their equipment and we end up with a tower up there that's just nothing more than a structure.
You think that would have to be addressed with US Cellular, but not this applicant?
And the property.
And the property owner.
But I don't know if we can get to them through this application. That's what my question was.
Well, we didn't require, I believe, I'm looking at the application, we didn't require US Cellular to be a party to it. We do require the property owner to be a party to it.
Correct.
And why I said, and I think the property owner should sign that they're, are aware that these conditions have been imposed on them, We haven't always done that in this community, but I think we probably should start if we don't have the property owner sign it, because, we should have the petitioner sign it, that they've acknowledged the receipt of the conditions. and, accept the same. And I think it's not unreasonable. The property owner is a co-petitioner by signing the application, to have them sign off that they, acknowledge these conditions. Without making US Cellular having been a co-petitioner, we really don't have jurisdiction over them at the moment. But we can research what the prior approvals say. We can, contact the property owners and find out what, see, one of the things we have to be careful of is just because they've taken it off and think, Shopko in Sussex, Shopko might be still paying, although they went into bankruptcy, they may still be paying rent
Right.
even, and so somebody might have to pay rent, even though they don't have anything on this tower, but the tower may have to be there for a while until that rent expires, if you hear what I'm saying.
I understand, and I don't want to run into the problem that we previously ran into where, as an example, I'm not saying it's the case, say the rent is $1 a year, and they're gonna say, heck, no, we're gonna keep that tower up forever because we're never gonna know. Somebody may want it in 25 years and we end up with a naked tower out there. But I don't know if we
Your
can get,
prior legal counsel was, cognizant of that issue, obviously, whether we wrote it, they wrote it the way, ultimately it needed to be written. So the best thing we could do is, just ask, the clerk and, and then, or if needed, to look into what the prior approvals were and what, if anything, in the prior approvals, dealt with that issue. That's not unreasonable for us to look. I don't think we could reach so far as, impose it on US Cellular, but we certainly can check and see. And if they ever come in with another request, we can make sure we make them be a co-applicant and bring them into our jurisdiction.
I think that's the only way we can do it. I would like to see the research done so that we're prepared and somebody remembers if US Cellular comes into here, that we can address it at that time. Because if US Cellular, if I understand correctly, owns the tower, physically owns it, then we have to wait until they want to change out their equipment. We can get to it then. So that's.
Well, we might be able to get to it if there's a third user.
Right.
But it does say right at the end of the first paragraph, the subject tower is owned by United States Cellular Operating
Okay.
Company LLC. So we do have that in the report. The other thing, and I wasn't going to go into it, but as long as you've talked about it, you all need to know that a determination has already been made that this is a minor modification. And under the federal and state law, if there's a minor modification, all they need is a building permit, and they need to fulfill the requirements of a building permit. In some communities, that's filing for a building permit and paying a fee. We've researched here, in order to get a building permit, you have to have a site plan and plan of operation approval. That's also true in Neshota and a few of my other clients. So it does have a lot of protections under the state and federal, as you all know. And in other communities, if you say, why, they don't have to come in at all. It's because of the way our code is written. The building inspector can't give a zoning permit and a building permit until they have a site plan and plan of operation approval. So I just wanted to make sure you understood that there is also that aspect to this approval. Did I state that correctly?
Correct. That's the only comment I have, Madam Chairperson.
Okay. Ed, do you have anything you would like to ask?
No, I mean, it's been thoroughly discussed. This seems to be just an upgrade, technology upgrade on the tower.
Okay,
I'm just, again, I'm generalizing, and given where the whole cell technology is going. Chairman Eberly's concerns are very warranted, given the other tower we dealt with, but I see these changes coming increasingly because as technology changes, they'll want to utilize that tower. I don't see them abandoning that tower at all because it's a very prime location.
okay. Brian, do you have anything? Oh,
No.
I'm sorry, Ed, are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. Brian, do you have anything?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr. Osterman, do you have any comments?
Nope, no comments.
Okay. Ariel, do you have anything else you would like to add?
Nope.
Okay. All right, then I'm looking for a motion from someone.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan of operation as presented with comments from the planner
And the attorney.
and the attorney.
Okay, that's motion has been made by Joe.
Second,
Okay, and Joe Osterman seconds it. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
aye,
Okay, all opposed, say nay. Okay, passes 5-0.
And then as separate as an aside, would the minutes reflect that the staff has been asked to research the history of the tower? No action need be taken. It can just be a directive from the planning commission.
Okay,
Done.
got
Thank
that,
you.
ladies? Okay, our next item is discussion and necessary action on the request by owner / applicant John Fenn for the property located at W230 and 9151 Colgate Road, LSBT 14999.002 for an original site plan / plan of operation for Sussex Auto / truck and trailer in the B-3 General Business Zoning District.
I was talking to, is it Orion or how do you? Oren, okay. The name is actually Highway Q, Auto Truck and Trailer, but it's, I think we changed it on the site plan. But it might have not made it to be updated on here.
So it's Highway Q Auto Truck and Trailer?
Yeah,
It is on our notes with both.
okay, yeah, it's on your notes for both. Yeah, so it'll be Highway Q, Auto Truck and Trailer. I guess there's another set, there's one that's called Sussex already. I don't want anybody to get confused.
Okay. Oren, do you want to give us some comments and then we'll have John speak?
Yes.
So I've got the property up with the aerial of the site. This is an existing building and the previous tenant, Joe's Car Care Inc., will be leaving the property soon, I believe.
On the November 15th.
November 15th. And so with that occurring, John is going to be taking over the use, which is what is being proposed. And the proposal includes previous operations with the addition of utility trailer repair and sales. The petitioner is also proposing to change the location of the dumpsters to the rear of the building, which would be the west side of the building. They're currently along the south side of the building. Back in March of 2021, Mr. Fenn received approval for a site plan and plan of operation amendment to the original site plan and plan of operation for Joe's Car Care Inc. to allow 6 spaces for outdoor storage of vehicles, including boats, campers, and trailers. On the west side of the property, there are 6 spaces there, and that's being proposed to continue as well. The parcel is B3, which allows this type of use as a permitted use. Plan of operation includes the auto truck and trailer sales and repair. And again, when we say trailer, we're talking about utility trailers, ATV, UTV, dump trailers, those types of vehicles. 2 employees. least one person there at a given time. Hours would be 8 AM to 6 PM. Again, the 6 storage spaces along the west side of the property are being proposed to continue. Plan Commission should determine whether the existing screening for the outdoor storage area is adequate. Again, that would have been approved back in 2021 as part of that site plan and plan of operation amendment at that time. As far as the town's parking standards, the site has sufficient parking. There's space for 20 vehicles. The applicant has provided an updated site plan from what's in the packet, which was disseminated to the commissioners. You should have had one at your seats when you arrived. So the petitioner is proposing angled parking for vehicles that would be associated with the repair use and or employees along the north lot line. That would be angled parking. And then there would be space for display of utility trailers along the south lot line. And then again, those 6 existing outdoor storage spaces along the west property line. And the petitioner is proposing a one-way loop, if you will, for flow of traffic through the site. The property has the existing building, which is about 2,000 square feet. There's no proposed changes to the building at this time. There's some existing exterior lighting. No proposed changes to that at this time. There's existing signage that includes 2 5x3 lighted signs on the building. There's no proposed change at this time, but any signage details would be subject to Chapter 17 sign ordinance for the town and a sign permit if you would like to reface those with your new business logo. We've got a condition to that effect proposed. There's some temporary storage of oil and fluids that takes place based on the auto servicing use. Those materials are stored in certified containers and regularly removed by a service. Same with petroleum products. There are existing dumpsters. John, I think when we spoke, you had stated that those were owned by the tenant and would be removed when he moves off site.
Correct.
And that moving forward, you're proposing to store any, whether they be garbage cans or a dumpster similar to what is currently there on the west side of the building.
On the west,
correct?
yeah. There's, it's railroad tracks and swamp
Right.
back there and there's no houses.
As far as, so the plan commission should determine whether that location is appropriate and whether or not a dumpster enclosure is necessary. I can tell you that the building would be sufficient to screen a dumpster located on the west side of the building from the view of Colgate Road. The landscaping, there was quite a bit of landscaping installed after the 2021 approval. There are Colorado blue spruce and arborvitaes along the east side of the property towards Colgate Road. And then there were also plantings. So there's about 20 plantings there. And there's approximately 20 plantings along the south property line in lieu of a fence, which was part of the approval back in 2021. There's pictures in the submittal that show both of those locations and the plantings there. So the plan commission should determine whether the existing landscaping is sufficient. Site's accessible via an existing driveway on Colgate Road. So as far as recommended conditions, the site plan and plan of operation approval would be limited to John Then Space for You LLC on the existing parcel. The use would be limited to the operation of an auto truck and utility trailer sales and repair business with accessory storage use. Number of employees would be limited to 2 full-time, minimum 1 employee at any given time. Hours of operation, 8 AM to 6 PM. Outdoor storage would be limited to 6 vehicles, boat, camper, trailer, as shown on the site plan. The site plan and plan of operation approval would be subject to the petitioner complying at all times with the plans and documents presented to the Plan Commission this evening. I have a comment in here, or a condition number 3 that states the site plan and plan of operation approval, or the site plan and plan of operation would be subject to a revised site plan depicting the location of the 20 off-street parking spaces per the zoning ordinance, and then the utility trailer display spaces. John has submitted a updated site plan since my report was drafted, which is what's in front of you at your seats this evening. So the Plan Commission should determine whether or not this satisfies those 2 items.
Well, it can't. I'll just tell you, the math doesn't work. He says it's 219 feet and the parking spaces I thought had to be 10 by whatever. There's not enough space to get 20 parking spaces on 219 feet. If I do the math.
9 feet wide, 20 feet deep, 180 square feet.
Well, you gotta show where the drives start. I have to be able to enforce if there is a claim to be a violation of the site plan. I don't think, I don't know what is this 20 cars and trucks parked spots mean here?
That was the original location. I believe the applicant failed to remove that label because he's proposing them along the north lot line now.
Originally, it was utility trailers up there, but then we put the utility trailers to the back and the cars to the front, so the angle park them, so it's really only angle parked.
Well, but I'm old and I'm a lousy driver, but I can't, you've got the angle the wrong way if that's the way you're gonna drive the vehicle, if that's the way you move the vehicles.
It would be a back-end
Yeah.
situation.
It's back in.
And these are all cars he owns for sale, or
Uh,
what are these cars? I know you worked on this long and hard, but up above it says the operation of auto truck and trailer sales and repair business.
So if I can, I'll let the applicant elaborate, but the way the property currently functions, there's a repair, it's an auto repair shop, and there are vehicles that are brought in for repair. And then a minimal number of spots for employee parking. So what was asked was that the site plan reflect where the minimum number of spaces required by the code could be located on site. And the minimum based on the size of the building would be 20 off-street spaces. And that's being proposed on the updated site plan along the north lot line.
And what are those spaces supposed to be used for?
Well, in this case, they would be used for vehicles brought in for repair and or employees. And I think I'll let the applicant speak to whether or not they need 20, they feel like they need 20 spaces. But again, we're talking about reflecting what the code requires. So John, if you want to speak to your need for
So,
parking.
yeah, so, there's already, Joe parks 20 cars there now all the time. So now we're just becoming much more organized with exactly where we're gonna park our cars after having a conversation. So the cars are gonna come in, they're gonna back in, and that is the designated parking, highly organized parking for the cars. In other words, they're not gonna be scattered all around the lot. They're gonna be in that location.
So
Um,
currently, cars are parked, along the north side of the building and in the kind of southwest corner or southeast rather corner of the site. So and then some along the north side as well. The concern I had was maintaining a drive aisle for ingress and egress around the building.
Cars are parked there now, it's just we're showing that.
Yeah.
according to the code.
Right.
How and where we're gonna park them. So,
And I respect that, and it still has to be done to scale in my recommendation. But I just need to know if someone complains about this property, whether these cars are all in for repair, these cars are owned by you, these are spaces where you've rented spots to people to put their cars. I
They're
need to
all-
have that
they're all-
clearly.
they're all repair or sales. They're not rentals. Honestly, I just built a large self-storage facility 3 miles away. And I have 120 outdoor parking spots and 50,000 square feet of storage. I don't need any more storage. It's on Appleton Avenue. I don't. I'm gonna be moving these campers, honestly, out of there and up to my new storage facility that just opened 4 weeks ago. But I can't ask them to move. I'm not gonna ask them to move now in the winter. They're already parked in there for the winter. So that whole area is gonna open up too, but my kids wanna do small utility trailers, buy small utility trailers, little snowmobile trailers. And now we're not talking anything bigger than 16, 18 feet angle parked. So they would stick out a total of about 12 feet angle parked. All of our storage facilities, our other storage facilities that we own, everything is angle parked. This is highly efficient. And it's the best way to do it. That way you don't have people pulling in and people pulling out, people backing in. It's highly organized whenever, it's a parking spot, people could still, there's still plenty of room there to pull in there if you want. It's a big spot. It's not tight there. And then I planted 20 trees along the east side, 20 trees along the south side, that was required. So basically we're just staying really small. It's just a quaint little business. It's not, the only reason you see all those spots is because it's required by the code. And
Madam Chair?
so the spots really only need to be 180 feet and it's 219 feet across the top. So I drew those and then I put a little setback in there. So there's plenty of room. So nine times 20 is 180. It's 210, so that leaves me an extra 40 feet. So the 20 cars easily fit there, and that's the best organized place for them. Now, am I gonna have 20 cars there at any time? Absolutely not. This is just gonna stay small, but I'm required to show that because of the code. So that's why I'm in the situation of drawing all those car spots in there. The utility trailers are in the back. That's where all the cars are parked now anyway. So there's 20, 25 cars and they're scattered all around. They're on the side of the building, on the back of the building, in the rear of the building, they're in the front of the building, they're going this way, they're going this way, they're all. So,
Madam Chair?
What?
Madam Chair,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have some information from Commissioner Mouche.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, site plan of operation for Sussex Auto Highway Q. Truck and trailer business. In the planner comments, it states the trailer repair and sale component is new and limited to utility trailers, such as UTVs, ATV, dump trailers, etc. However, on page 3 of the applicant site plan application, it references campers being stored outside. I understand that.
yeah, so we already have
And I can tell them
a
that.
use for the campers on the back. Those are the 6 spots.
Okay.
So we're,
So the other question is, I'm not opposed to the repair of sale of campers. I just feel they should explicitly recognize it as part of the activity. If you were going to start repairing campers or do things with campers, then it
Yeah,
should be
no.
put into the,
we're not gonna do anything with campers. That's, the campers are just happen to be stored there. Because I own the self-storage facility to the north, if some of you guys don't know that. I own that
So-
self-storage facility, so we put the campers
right.
in the back and then
So-
I got a conditional use.
So I have a quick question, if I may. I know that your self-storage, you mentioned it just now, but doesn't the self-storage, isn't it able to drive up into this parking lot?
Mm-mm.
No, okay, that's.
They're
that-
separate
Because I
entryway.
know that they, you have all these parking
Yeah.
here and I thought maybe you were
Separate
cutting that off.
entrances.
So, okay, thanks.
They're two separate parcels.
Yep.
Just a sec, Joe. Anything else, Kathy?
Nope, that'll
Okay.
be, thank
And I
you.
cut Orin off, maybe he wasn't. finished. Do you have anything?
Just
further?
one quick thing, if I could. I don't think John should be limited that he can't work on any kind of campers there. If that's the intent here. I mean, it's an auto repair shop. If he's working on trailers, I mean, why should he be limited in that fashion?
I don't think the administrator said that. She just said if that is the case, it needs to say that.
Yeah, we should just add it to the site plan of operation if that's a possibility. That's all.
It's just, if we get complaints, we have to be able to look to this document that's approved tonight, decide whether or not the complaint is legitimate. You know, I don't think anybody's saying that he's asked for anything unreasonable or that should be denied if properly spaced and properly screened. We just got to make sure, we've been confused as a staff, just so the commissioners know from day one, exactly what he wanted to do. Is this a repair garage? Is this a storage facility? Is this an auto sales facility? Is it all of the above? And so we've been trying to hone in and continuing tonight to try to hone in, and the site plan, you know, had to be finalized before we knew all of that. I assume the trailer camper parking, the 6, which is really boats, campers, and trailers, according to that, you rent those 6 spaces to people for money
Correct,
and they park there.
correct,
So that's a rental storage area.
correct.
The utility trailer is your trailers, correct?
No, they're gonna be the
Sales.
sales and or repair. There's just 8, 9 of them. That's gonna be small,
Well, if they're for sale, they're yours or they're in consignment?
either or.
We need to know that, you know.
We're on the topic of sales. John, do you want to speak to the auto sales component of this proposed use?
Yeah, just kind of this exact same that Joe's doing now. I think he just maybe he has a additional use for sale, just a tour, like if and when it does go in that direction. It'll just be small, you know, when my kids are, you know, a little older and one of them wants to go to be an auto repair technician. He's already told me he wants to take over the shop. I want him to have the ability to buy cars at auction and fix them up and hire a guy and sell them there. You know, so am I gonna go buy 50 cars and sell them? No, it's just a small family business. Nothing bigger than that. Nothing, we're not changing the lighting. We're not, it's gonna be exactly as it is, except we're just showing where we're gonna park the cars that are already parked there. And we're adding a few spaces for utility trailer on the back. That's the only change.
Okay, Joe, you said you had a question?
Well, I've got a couple of comments. Number one is, from the right of way, I'm looking on the county's GIS website. If you measure 220 feet from the right of way to the west, you're in the wetland. You can't get there. In other words, you can, if you need by code, and I didn't look it up, I assume Lauren knows this, how many you need to have, but if you can't get 20 parking places on the north property line. You're
I
gonna
know-
be in the wetland.
I'm not in the wetland. I just have to show you a map. Orin, can you bring that back up for me, please?
Yep.
I'm talking from the right of way, not the edge of your driveway.
Sure,
That's in the right of way.
not a problem.
So if you go from that corner, 220 feet to the west, you're in the wetland.
From that corner?
Right where see where the red is? That's the right of way line. You can't measure from the road. From here, 220 feet gets you in the wetland.
Go 2 feet to the south. From there, now go 2 feet to the south. Yep, now go straight back. This way? Yep, all the way back.
That's not,
This is your lot line. Yeah, but I'm gonna be 2 feet to the south. Then the wetland 2 feet. Oh, I see. He's holding it 2 feet.
no, I'm showing you right here where it is. There it is.
9 feet is parking spot.
Yeah, I see, here's 220 feet. It's way out here in the wetland.
Yeah, it's over there by the. Almost. Where is it?
You're in the wetland.
Okay, so I need 180 feet. I need 180 feet. 9 times 20 is 180. You're telling me I need to move a couple of cars, I'd be.
I'm not talking about that, but I just don't want to have,
Well, there we,
you're-
is that 180
it's to
feet?
protect you also. If you start parking cars in the wetland and somebody complains,
Yeah,
you're gonna be in more trouble than with the town of Lisbon.
wetland. The developer, I know how to get on that. But that, you can go all the way back there, so all the way back to the.
Yeah, and you can't get 20 parking places in there.
I just measured it. It's 100 and. Well, I need 180 feet to get 9-foot wide parking spaces at. 180 goes. So now come south a little bit. Yeah, so that's 180. So if I go back,
Okay, I'm trying to.
if I'm missing 1 or
reconcile-
2 spots, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, how many does he
I
need,
can
or?
move them up to north of the campus. 2 spots, 3 spots north of the campus.
See, what I'm having a problem with is what we got tonight, plus what we received in our packet. These sketches are very deceiving, and this is for your protection as well as compliance with the rules. And it has my questions are all interspersed. What is required to be hard surface parking? Is it just the ones for his employees?
Orin?
So the site plan that was previously approved for the previous tenant was based on, so that site plan is in the packet as well.
I know, and that shows a different wetland line, but I'm willing, I mean, on the CSM, so I'm willing to concede that, but I'm trying to figure out because
The areas that are paved, so, and I'll let John speak to this. There's the paved drive coming in to where you would access the building, to where the doors on the building are, correct?
Orin, I think he was asking, what is required? How many parking spaces are required?
well, it's that plus,
To be
do they
on.
need to be surfaced? I mean, hard surface, is it gonna be asphalt or concrete? That's what I'm trying to get at, because right now, other than where those few trailers are sitting, none of that is hard surfaced.
It's all recycled asphalt. It's hard surface.
That's not a hard
It's
surface.
according to the DNR standards, it's hard surface.
I think our ordinance allows
Does?
recycle asphalt, yeah, because
Okay.
the storage facility also has.
Okay,
So John,
Asphalt.
the areas
It's
that
harder,
are,
that's better than asphalt. Never breaks out.
the areas that are not concrete, so you can see the white areas
Right.
on the aerial, those are
Yeah.
concrete, correct?
Concrete on the back. That is
And then the drive coming in is concrete, and the rest is the recycled asphalt.
compacted, water. With a roller asphalt, 100%.
Okay,
That's
and that,
100% asphalt.
that was done back in 2021, or was that prior to that?
On or around
Okay.
20 or before, yeah. I have to go look at the old photos. I can't remember.
So it was at least done when your storage spaces were,
Before that, yeah.
so before the storage stuff was proposed.
Yeah.
So 2019, I think, was the original site plan of operation for Joe's.
It's
So maybe it
not
goes
gonna-
back to that.
It's not gonna bother me if you want me to take the campers out of there and put the cars there. All right, I have 130 camper spots 3 miles away that I'm gonna be moving them to. It's not. I don't wanna get into a plus or minus 5 or 8 feet over a wetland. So I'm okay. I'll move I'll put the cars north of where the camper is. And we'll have, you know, why don't I go to 4 camper spots or something and then put the cars back there?
Well, right now on the site plan we got today, you show 6 spots where those 3 campers are right now, that you're gonna get 6 cars in there.
Well, those are 15-foot wide spots.
Okay.
That
I
is,
understand.
that's more than that. That's the width of the whole. That is
Okay.
154 feet. So I have 6 campers in 154 feet. So that is 154 divided by 6. Those camper spots are 25 feet wide.
On your drawing, John, it says there, 78 feet is the storage back there and they're 13 feet wide. Still
Okay.
ample.
Yeah, but on there, you can see how sparse in space they are.
Okay, and then, Aaron, on your report on page 3, you mentioned outdoor storage under D, under 1D, as in David. You see, outdoor storage shall be limited to 6 vehicles. In parentheses, as boats, campers, trailers. That's not, what he's saying is not what that says.
So I guess what I'm trying to accomplish with that condition is to continue what was previously approved and not allow an expansion of the spaces that are for rent currently on the west side of the property. There are 6 of them that were approved as part of the 2021 site plan and plan of operation amendment. And the goal of that condition was to carry that forward as was proposed in the original application, by memorializing it as part of this approval as well.
But isn't that in conflict with what he's doing?
No?
No. I think what John has said is that he's not asking for any more outdoor storage spaces. He's shown the 6 on his updated site plan here, and he's even said that, you know, long-term moving forward, those will likely move to his other facility on Appleton Avenue.
Okay, so I'm confused. If he parks 20 trailers out, he's in violation of this condition.
If I
he's
park
got
any more than
20
6.
trailers out there for sale, he's got 14 more than what we say here he can have. That's what it gets back to what Mr. Macy said. I'm trying to reconcile what he's allowed to or not allowed to have.
Sure. So, would it be appropriate to add language to 1D to acknowledge the outdoor display of a maximum of 8 utility trailers?
If somebody was going to try to, if somebody drove onto the property, they're gonna count things. And would not believe that they care whether they're for sale, they're storage, they belong to one of the workers or whatever. Is it just too simple on my part to say he's allowed to have X things out there and leave it at that? Because I defy somebody to go out there on a Tuesday afternoon and decide whether that's being stored there, that one's for sale, that one belongs to an employee. I mean, can't we just limit it to, he can have 30 things out there? Wouldn't
Well-
that be easier to?
I think we want to also know what
Agreed.
they're there for. So this body previously approved 6 storage spaces as part of the past site plan and plan of operation amendment in 2021. Those are spaces that are for lease for people to store items. That's not what's being proposed for the utility trailer spots along the south lot line. Those will not be spaces where people can rent from you and come park something. Those are gonna be part of your business operation, and they're gonna be
Yeah,
either trailers that you're displaying for sale or that are being parked for repair, correct, John?
yeah, but I think what Mr. Eberly is trying to say is, why don't we just say 15? 15 utility trailers, campers, or boats, right?
I mean,
And then
it's-
call it that
Because you're,
number.
because
No,
you're not,
I can tell you, we can't do that, Mr. Everly, because he's
Not what's being
required to
requested.
have, well, no.
Well, it's
He's
an approved.
required to have 20 spaces for the operation of the business and for his employees. And if we said he can have 30 of anything he darn well pleases, and I don't mean that in a negative way,
Yeah.
we will never be able to prove he's got the 20 spaces he's required to have to run the business. So Orin has,
Okay.
now, I don't think one of the reasons is we're using the word storage way too broadly.
Yeah,
And when you clarified it, Orin, you said it correctly, outdoor storage for the rental, of outsiders, blah, blah, blah. And that's one of the confusions, because it's all outdoor storage. The
That's
cars he
what
owns, the
I'm
cars he's repairing, the employees' cars, utility trailers, they're all outdoor storage. They're just being categorized into different sub-uses.
can I say, the facility I just finished in Germantown, they just called it outdoor storage, they leave it up to us, they could care less. It's outdoor storage.
Are you repairing vehicles there?
No, but the
Do you have a
vehicles are,
shop?
the
Do you have a
vehicles,
shop there?
well, we could say that well, I have 50,000 square feet of storage of indoor buildings
Are
where people
allowed
come and
to
go.
Repair their cars?
No,
See, part of the rub here, and I know Orin talked to you because we had staff meeting,
yeah,
and he kept trying to clarify, are you really storing cars here? Are you really
we're not storing any
repairing
cars.
cars here?
No.
One of the rubs that occurs here is you have the storage, you have a facility to repair vehicles, and we want to respect that right. And you want to keep that right, even though that's not the major impetus at this moment.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, correct.
Am I being,
Yeah, I just want to maintain the current use and add a couple of small utility trailers. That's all I'm asking for, a couple of spaces for small utility trailers on the back. Could we say something along the lines where only the cars shall be parked in the front in the designated area? And then the rest shall be main utility trailer, boat or camper? I could propose that nothing else shall be parked on the north side of the building other than cars for sale or repair. And then the rest shall be in an orderly fashion. I mean, I'm highly organized. If you guys drive around there, it looks, nothing's messy, very clean. It's not changing any lighting. It's gonna be way less of a use than what Joe's using it for now. We were just hoping that, my kids find a trailer, total trailer on Facebook, they can go pick it up for $300, they can change some axles, put it on Facebook for sale for 1,500 and kind of, start being entrepreneurs and then go to, auto repair school and learn how to fix cars and go to work for someone else and then have a friend and then expand this business. And I have the place, it's paid off, I paid cash for it. So I don't, I just kind of want to grow into this business, I guess, and keep it small, but have the flexibility to go in the direction the business goes, but stay small and local and quaint. So I would be perfectly fine if we said only the north shall be the designated car parking spots. And then the outdoor display or outdoor storage, which is an approved use in the B3, shall be in the remaining section to the west and to the south.
Could you say in D, Orin, that, just put rental in there? Outdoor rental storage shall be limited to 6 spaces? That'll work. I mean,
So, I mean-
wouldn't that qualify that?
Sure.
do that.
So
It-
the drawing that we have here,
in the
Um,
back, the six, or yeah, the
So
six
you have the
spaces.
6 rental spots. You've got 20 car spaces, and if you have to reduce it down to, if you have-
Or
you know, if you have to use some of these to get your 20 spaces.
to the north of the
And then
camper
you've got
spots.
8 utility trailers. I mean,
And there's
I think
still a
it's
lot of
pretty laid
room.
out.
There's still a lot of room on both sides of the building too. That's where Joe parks them now, but the campers, I mean, they come in, they have no problem going in and around there. They've been renting there for 2 years, year and a half, whatever it's been.
Brian, do you have anything?
This is a little bit different subject, but this septic vent that's shown on the certified survey map, you're not parking on your septic system.
No,
And then the shed, I don't think the shed is there anymore either. That's
Nope.
shown on the survey.
no,
Okay. And then, is that septic, does that serve Joe's Auto or your proposed?
no, not at all. The septic is right.
It's, because it's shown on the lot 1 here. Says septic vent right there.
I can show you where it is.
I'm just curious, because years ago, long time ago, this was a heating facility.
Yeah,
And,
septic is
and the
right.
people who owned the heating company lived in the
Yeah.
house right here. That's why this driveway is separated, because
Yeah, they made me separate it at the last use meeting,
that's right, yep.
so there was no connection between them, so I had to put.
That's why you put the
fence over
trees in.
trees.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the septic is actually right there.
And that serves, oh, okay, so,
No, the septic is right out. Show you. This way. And the septic is right out here. Septic's out there in the grass.
thank you.
And then the well is on the neighbors. So I have a shared well agreement, so there's no well on the property. So the neighbor has a well and they just have the line comes into the shop under the concrete.
Is that it, Brian?
Yeah, that's-
Okay, Ed?
So there's two major, Eric, there's.
Ed, turn on your microphone. Thank you.
Okay. For all our discussion, there's two major areas of concern: storage of what, selling of what, and the building, utilization of the building. Have we agreed, Orin, is there agreement? If, for example, if I come in and I look to the south, or I look to the west, or look to the north, those are the three major areas where said trailers, utility trailers, et cetera, will be stored.
Yeah, so,
Agreement has been, the agreement, because of Chairman Eberly's comments, very apropos to this whole discussion of not getting into the wetland, would be 180 feet. And you're okay with that? And with the building itself, you were mentioning that your son may, in the future, use the building for repairs.
yeah, well, we're gonna start to get going with this business, start moving forward,
Okay.
starting now.
Are the spaces that are to this, I'm sorry, to the south, there's no change there?
The utility trailer parking.
Utility trailers, there's no change?
I'm just gonna park utility trailers there. He just had lots of cars lined up everywhere back there now. Cars, junk cars that weren't running, you know.
Well,
So I own the property to the north. That's mine.
correct, the storage facility.
It's the railroad tracks in the swamp to the west. I planted 20 trees on Colgate Road and I planted 20 trees along the south.
And I want to comment that from looking at the pictures, that's, excuse me, that's quite an improvement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, if I could show you guys real
Because
quick.
we do have pictures of those.
I could show you guys quickly what it looked like before.
I believe you. I mean,
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
pretty much,
I.
it was disorganized and there wasn't a lot there.
Yeah.
So. And I assume,
I put a lot of money fixing it up.
yeah, there's no comments made from the neighbor to the south of where you planted the trees, so. There's no matter of record on that. Well, if nothing else, no one's gonna see the dumpster.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should require that you have to fence it in. You can't see it anyway. And realistically, unless you look real hard, you can't see your business from Q
Mhm.
because the self-storage blocks everything. Okay? But the concern about how many spaces infringement on wetland was well warranted, and you understand that.
Mhm.
At this point, I have no further questions or comments.
Joe, anything else?
No, my only concern is that we're able to enforce what we're telling them that he can do, and that you get what you want and you understand what you can and cannot do out there. So in 5 years, nobody's got a problem. This is for your protection as well as anybody else's. And if we can word it so that it's enforceable and everybody knows what the parameters are, I'm fine with it. More power to you and good luck on your business.
Okay. Joe, do you have any comments?
Nope, I think we've talked about this one plenty.
Okay. The only thing I would like to see is just on your, I mean, because we always bring this up and nobody brought it up this time. I was kind of surprised. On your hours of operation, you're going to be open from 8 AM to 6 PM. That's fine, but if, that means your people have to be out the door at 6. So I was just gonna say, you don't, not to be open, but just make your hours 7 to 7. Just so that people can get there early.
Okay.
And people can stay and clean up if they need to after 6.
Okay,
That's
thank
all.
you.
But I mean, your business hours are what you want, so that's fine, 8 AM to 6. Okay, so anybody else have anything they would like to say? No. No?
Could I make it 7 to 7 then at your recommendation?
Well, you can have your hours at 7 to 7, but you would be open from 8 AM to 6 PM.
Okay.
It's just that your employees can be there
Okay,
because
perfect.
as they have it now, your people can't be there till 8 o'clock
Okay.
in the
thank you.
morning, okay? So,
Mhm. I mean, we're very quiet people. We're orderly, clean. This is gonna be small.
right, but you never know if you
Yeah.
need to stay after, you know,
Exactly.
if they're doing something. You know, even though you aren't open, they could still be there, so it would be wise just to have your operating hours. I don't know which one, it's 7 to 7 and just.
Can we
leave
just
it-
let them be open from 7 to 7?
No, he opened from 8 to 6, but
Right,
It's
but
just
why can't
like-
we let them just be open from 7 to 7?
well, I don't care if he's open 7 to 7.
Most,
mean, are
most
there
auto shops in the
restrictions?
area are open at 7. I guess most of them don't stay open till 7, but most of them are open at 7 AM in the morning.
Yeah, I think what Becky was trying to do was just give him leeway for his staff to go in and out. The 8 to 6 was his choice.
Yeah, we'll
So if he
buffer.
decided he wanted to go 7 to 7 and his people wouldn't get there till 7, that's up to him. Or go earlier than that, 6 to 8.
Right.
That's all Becky was trying to do, is give him a leeway of an hour on both ends.
Little
That's all.
buffer.
Yeah, I definitely would like that if you guys would be open to that change, 7 to 7.
All right, are we looking for a motion or do we have any more comments?
Madam Chair, I will make the motion. Request by owner applicant John Then for the property located at West 230 North 159151 Colgate Road, tax code of 0149.999.002 for an original site plan of operation for Sussex Auto and Truck and Trailer in the B3 General Business Zoning District be approved for comments that have been made by all planners present this evening.
Could the clerk get some clarification on what those comments are that we're changing, please?
Changing the hours to 7 to 7.
The hours,
Okay, we're also clarifying the storage in number, pardon, D. That's rental.
yeah,
To reflect outdoor rental storage spaces are limited to 6 spots, is that correct? And we're changing the operating hours to 7 AM to 7 PM, but the
Yes.
business hours are remaining the same at 8 to 6.
I think he has to revise the site plan as our discussion to figure out how many cars he can get on the side before the wetland and moving the ones in the back or relocating, you know. And so I would just add, if the maker of the motion would be willing to say, and supplying a revised site plan, further discussions, subject to the planner's approval.
so moved.
I'll
Just want-
second.
We just want to make sure it's not Sussex Auto, Auto Truck
Oh,
and
yeah.
Trailer, it's Highway
Highway
Q.
Q.
Highway Q.
Okay, everybody's
One
okay
more-
with
Orin
that?
has a point.
One more comment. We're also striking the either the last sentence or all of condition 4. So condition 4 read, there shall be no trash stored outside of the building. The existing dumpster / waste container shall be screened at all times by an enclosure.
We're striking it, aren't we?
Correct.
Yeah,
I
I'm-
thought that was the discussion.
Just strike
Yes.
condition 4.
Okay, do we have all those
I do know. Thank you
changes?
for the
Okay.
clarification.
All right, a motion was made by Ed and seconded by Joe. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion passes 5-0. Okay,
Just to be clear, what do I need to provide still? Scale drawing to you of the, yeah, I did trace this. I did it myself. I had anytime I can save $2,000 for. But I traced this off of the GIS exactly off of their site to scale, so.
Well, at a minimum, I think there's 2 references that are just wrong. One is 20 car truck parking
Yeah.
spots, and one is utility trailer parking. So at a minimum, we've got to get those off of there, because years from now, somebody says, well, why is that on there? He must, you know,
So the utility trailer parking, that's where the,
no, there's one here too.
When you switched them,
I gotcha.
when you switched them, you left the label
Okay.
where they used to.
You
So
heard
then
this
the
money
only thing
tonight.
you have to convince them is that you're not in the wetland with the 20 parking spaces. And if you are, that you're gonna move some to the back next to the trailer camper park. That's probably the only thing, once you remove those references, if he's satisfied it's to scale, that's the man you gotta convince.
All right, I'll get it to you tomorrow. I'll have my engineer draw that up quick. So, thank you guys very much.
okay. Next
Thank you.
is C, under new business, discussion and necessary action on the proposed amendments to the Lisbon zoning code, in particular, but not limited to the repeal and recreation of addendum E, design standards and recommendation to the town board of the same. Okay, Orin?
So again, this is a housekeeping item to make sure that our language in the zoning ordinance matches the revised language that was adopted by Sussex and Lisbon as part of their intergovernmental agreement or boundary agreement. So in the boundary agreement, these design standards are approved and they're referenced as Exhibit Q. In our zoning ordinance, the design standards are Exhibit E, which is an addendum to the zoning ordinance. So we're proposing to repeal and recreate Addendum E to match the language in Q. And we're going to have a couple notes noting two changes to text. One, acknowledging the language this body already adopted regarding lighting, which harkens back to the Pontiac trucking project. And another just noting a correction for an exhibit that is referenced in the current Exhibit Q design standard language. Those will be notes within the ordinance for this. So we're gonna adopt the already approved and agreed upon design standards verbatim, and we're gonna note those other two exceptions. And are there any questions from the commission? Again, the map of these planning gateway areas is in the packet. So as to where this would apply.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Orin? No? Ed?
No.
No? Okay, does staff have any questions? No. About this? Okay, then we're looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend adoption by the town board approval.
And I'll second that.
Okay, a motion was made by Joe and seconded by Ed for approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
All opposed, say nay. It passes 5-0. Okay, the next item on our agenda is discussion only regarding proposed amendments to section 25, parent B of the Lisbon zoning code regarding permitted uses. Okay, Orin, what you got?
At our last meeting, we had a discussion around a proposed use in the B2 district. And it was for a mudjacking use. And the current code language did not accommodate. So we have a proposal for a text amendment from the same petitioner to amend the zoning code language in section 25B to allow a new permitted use, essentially, to add language to allow for a permitted use that would read service contractor facilities for electricians, plumbers, HVAC contractors, roofers, carpenters, millwork installers, and subject to the Plan Commission's determination, similar trades and services to be used as sales offices, showrooms, and accessory storage for associated equipment, vehicles, and supplies which may be allowed by the Plan Commission, all which must be located inside of a building or screened to the Plan Commission's satisfaction. All such uses are subject to approval by the Plan Commission of a site plan and plan of operation, which may contain conditions that the Plan Commission feels are necessary to satisfy the goals and objectives of the code. So what we're trying to do is accommodate not just our one proposal here, but to provide some language in the code that acknowledges these types of uses outside of what would be considered a contractor's yard. That's really the only thing we have to point to right now. So we don't need any action this evening. We're just looking for a any feedback you might have for any conceptual feedback you might have, and if this looks amenable to the commission conceptually.
And let me explain one other thing. When a property owner makes the request to amend, we don't have much, if any, leeway of wordsmithing it I'll just stop there, wordsmithing. Because it's their petition. When it's our petition or the staff petition, you can say, you guys did a lousy job wording it. We want to tighten it up this way or that way. But when it's their petition, and the example I had last night at the meeting is they came in and they said they wanted to allow this on 4 acres or less parcels. Well, if we had changed it, the text amendments to 5 acres, they would have said, wait a minute, it's my petition and now I can't take advantage of it and I paid all this money. And so this is your chance to really scrutinize it because he's willing to allow you to wordsmith it now and before we go to publication tomorrow or the next day. But sorry to have to lay it out that way, but we did try to very carefully assist him in the drafting of this. A lot of eyes have been on it, but we wanted your eyes on it also. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
My only concern is that it has to do with vehicles. I understand what they're trying to get here, and I think we have a gap in permitted uses, and I think this pretty well says it, but I just want to make sure we're not causing a problem, because the way I read this is they've got to have all their vehicles stored inside, so if they come, I mean, to what extent are we gonna have to enforce something like that?
Inside or screening to plan commission satisfaction.
If you've got four trucks in your business and two of them come back to the shop to pick up something. I mean, I don't want to get ridiculous here, but they park out in front of the building, they go inside and get 6 2x4s and they go back in their truck and they go home or go back to the job. I mean, I just want to make sure that we're not creating a problem here. Otherwise, it seems to be pretty broad base and it gives us enough leeway to do something with, but I don't want to create a problem.
So the B2 district currently allows as an accessory use. I'm sorry, even as a principal use. So currently as a permitted use in the B2, garages for storage of vehicles used in conjunction with the operation of the business. That's currently a permitted use. So there's also an accessory use for outdoor storage and or display subject to the approval of a site plan and plan of operation by the town plan commission. That's language currently in the code for the B2 district. Our issue last time was that we didn't have a permitted use that the plan commission felt comfortable saying the proposed use was similar to.
In your opinion, Orin, does this solve that issue or not?
Yes, absolutely. And it will be applicable to other potential businesses. So what we're doing is creating a situation where these uses can exist in this district without going as far as allowing contractors' yards in this district.
Mr. Everly, to your point, could we go to line 1, 2, 3, 4? And it says, which may be allowed by the plan commission. All which must be located inside of a building. I'm inserting comma, otherwise authorized by the zoning code, comma, or screened to the plan commission satisfaction.
That's fine. I just don't want to.
Because if we have a commercial CU, many communities have a commercial
Right.
parking CU. If you get a CU separate and aside from this, you know, or you come under that other permitted use that you just
Correct,
read,
correct.
that would allow them. And I think that might address your concern.
Yeah, I think so.
And I like
That's
that
fine.
as well, because the issue we ran into previously was that the lot is not large enough to meet the minimum area requirements for the various, you know, for the commercial parking CU.
So, yeah, thank you.
We
Uh,
can have
so-
the applicant on Zoom via phone. Anyone wants to ask if he's amenable to the changes?
So I do have some, something from, Commissioner Moshe. If I may.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
He suggests that we need a definition of service contractor facilities such as buildings used as sales office, showrooms, accessories, storage, or associated equipment, vehicles, and supplies for electricians, plumbers, HVAC contractors, roofers, carpenters, millwork, installers, and similar contractors. He suggests that would appear in section 4 of the zoning code. Then add service contractor facility to the list 25B sub B2. Include the remainder of the language in the request under section 25B3. Garages for storage of vehicles, equipment, and supplies used in conjunction with the operation of a business may be allowed by the Plan Commission, all of which must be inside a building or screened to the Plan Commission's satisfaction. So he just thought of it a little different way. He thought maybe putting a definition in section 4 and then referring to that section 4, adding it to as 25B2. So it was just a different, he had a different thought of placement. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't know in the definition, you can say, and subject to the Plan Commission's determination, similar trades or services. I'm not sure. We'd have to do some research. If everybody's of a mind to do that, I don't have a problem having a definition of service contractor, but I guess I would really have to think if I want to change, 25B. I mean, is anybody familiar with a definition that would say service contractor facilities and subject to Plan Commission determination? I mean, generally regulations are supposed to be in the code. They're not supposed to be in the definition.
I'm not aware of that, and I don't believe we have definitions either for all of our permitted uses in the code.
I just brought it forward.
No, and we're not blaming the messenger, I'm just trying to give it due deference as to whether or not we should have a definition of service contractor. I mean, theoretically, you could have, and I don't mean this, caustically, electricians, plumbers, HV. I mean, you could have a definition for everything, and some codes are attempting to do that. I guess I'll defer to the planner, and then to the commissioners, whether they think we should also add a definition of service contractor.
Well, I think the reason we didn't just say service contractor facilities or similar trades and services are subject to the Plan Commission's determination is that we're including a list of examples in this item that would be in the code. So,
I like that.
and and subject to the Plan Commission's determination, similar trades and services speaks to the fact that, someone's going to come in with something similar to what Mr. Abraham did, asking to be for your determination of whether or not their use is similar. That will happen again in the future, and some codes put that type of language. They'll say, here's the list of permitted uses, but we acknowledge that we can't list everything here. And that if there's a question of determination, either the zoning administrator makes that, or the Plan Commission makes that, or, it'll spell out how that happens moving forward. So in lieu of having that broadly in the code, we've got it specifically, at least for this proposed use.
Okay, now you've made us look at it closer, and that's our job. I'm not sure that after similar trades, there's supposed to be a comma. Somebody who also took majored in English, transformational grammar is what it's called. Think the comma is supposed to be there. Is the plan?
Yes, the
Are-
comma comes out.
Comma comes out.
Yes.
Just
Now-
the very middle ruler would have wanted the comma out.
Okay. So the Plan Commission can determine similar trades and services.
Correct.
But the to be used as sales offices, showrooms, and accessories is supposed to apply to everything.
Right, that's a separate thought.
And how do we make that occur? Do we put a comma there after services? I'm being very specific, but I'll tell you what I'm talking about. The HVAC contractor, it is not contemplated that he'd be bending metal at this location, in all due respect. This is supposed to be the sales office, the showroom, and accessory storage. He's not supposed to be fabricating. This is not a fabricating operation for any of these people, but HVAC is one that often, and maybe millwork, I gotta go back to the shop and do some metal bending, and this,
Which is why we took out, production from our first draft, but no.
Well, then millwork and HVAC contractors should come out of there. As an example, drywall contractors would be in here because they don't do anything there. They do all their work at a site. They store buckets of stuff there, but that's it. They don't do any, I think John brings up a good point. We should. Yes, because you can't do, you have to. I would take out HVAC contractors. I would take out, well, you've got millwork installers. That is different than millwork. Millwork installers are carpenters, so I would take out millwork installers. They're carpenters.
well, but I don't wanna.
Why?
We can take it out. You can buy all of the cabinets pre-made and have them store them there, and then when they're ready for him to install them, he takes them over and install it. That's different than millwork fabricating.
That's right. That's why
Pardon?
millwork is a subset of carpentry.
Well, that's why you're saying we don't need it?
Yeah, we don't need it.
Understood. Thank you for that clarification. Got it.
I'm intimately familiar with that stuff.
And so there's a comma after services, or so that it means the plumbers only can use it for sales office, showrooms, accessory. I mean, that's what's intended, that this is their headquarters, but not storage facility, but not where they do the fabricating or things like that, correct?
Correct, that's the intent.
And I think that gives us a broad enough number of examples for something else that isn't enumerated here.
So, you need to ask Sam if he's okay with those changes. He is participating via Zoom.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here. And yeah, those changes sound great.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Sam, I'll email you the changes tomorrow or Monday.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
okay. Number 5 is unfinished business, which has been removed. So we're to number 6, the planner report.
We've got a couple items, that are gonna be on our next agenda. We've got a major grading CUP. We've got a text amendment public hearing, which is a housekeeping item from a prior application. We've got, 2 planner appointments that we had today that we are anticipating will be on as well, which include another major grading CUP and a site plan of operation for a new business owner of an existing business.
So, TDC, the North, Lisbon North property that we, sold, on Richard Road. They are coming back to amend, the site plan of operation with their leasee's name on it, or leaseor's name on it.
That's it. Okay, anything else?
Nothing further to report?
Okay, all right, then we're ready for an adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
motion made by Joe to adjourn, and seconded by Ed. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Okay, meeting is adjourned at
8:11.
8:11. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.